Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to be going over how to create a Facebook ad. This is going to be an in-depth video. Now we're going to touch briefly on the different objectives that we can use when running Facebook ads. But what we're not going to go over is how to create custom audience, lookalike audience, how to install your Facebook pixel, how to generate a whole bunch of engagement on an ad before actually running the ad as a conversions. If you want to know how to do any of that, go ahead and make sure you check the link in the description after this video, because you'll find a bunch of videos that I've recorded in the past, which I think will be helpful to you. Make sure that you watch till the end, because this is honestly one of the only videos that you'll need to watch to actually understand how to run a Facebook ad, whether you're doing this as an agency or whether you're doing this as a business owner yourself. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. First thing you need to do is go to the ad account where you're actually going to run the ad. And then here on the top left-hand corner, we're going to go ahead and hit create. And once we do that, we're going to get a screen that looks like this. So we need to choose our objective. I would highly recommend that in most cases, you only run conversion campaigns, because this is essentially telling Facebook, what is our objective? What are we trying to get? If you're doing e-commerce, if you're selling a product, whether it's physical or whether it's digital, you're going to want to do conversions campaign. Now, if you're doing lead gen, you're going to go ahead and click lead gen. Here's some other things that I recommend that you test with. So you should be running video view campaigns, you should be running engagement campaigns as well. Traffic campaign is basically just driving traffic to your website. I have a video on how to actually create engagement campaigns and video view campaigns. That's going to be really helpful to basically amass a whole bunch of social proof. But for the sake of this video, we're only doing conversions. Again, the objective here is we're telling Facebook, find us people that are likely to do XYZ. In this case, conversions. So if you're selling a product, you want to make sure you check conversions. So we'll go ahead and choose conversions, and then we'll go ahead and click continue. And once we do that, we're going to be redirected to a screen that looks like this. Now, this is the campaign level, this is the ad level, this is the ad set level. At the campaign level, as you can see here, you're going to go ahead and choose if you want campaign budget optimization, which is essentially giving Facebook a daily budget and telling Facebook, go ahead and distribute this budget based on the best performing ads or best performing ad sets. So this is something I recommend that you test with, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to keep it turned off. And this is essentially what the campaign level is. Now, the ad set level is where you actually go ahead and choose who you're showing your ad to, what time your ad is going to go live, the different interests, demographics, and behaviors that you can target. And then the ad level is essentially where the ad is going to be. So the ad level is, what are these people that you chose in the ad set going to see? This is where you're going to upload your creative. This is where you have the ad copy, the headline. After we chose if we want to do a campaign budget optimization or not, we're going to go ahead and click next. And after you click next, we're going to come here to the ad set level and make sure you guys that you're naming these. So let's go back here actually and name this YouTube video example. So we'll just go ahead and title this. Again, you want to title this accordingly. You want to make sure that you get your naming convention right, because when you're running a whole bunch of ads, you want to make sure you identify what each campaign is, as well as the different ad sets in the ad level. So for this right here, for the sample of this video, we're going to go ahead and just title it Muslim plus fitness. And I'll tell you exactly why we titled it that. We titled this that because this is the audience that we're going to target. So let's say here you're targeting people that are interested in outdoor niche, right? You would title this according to what you're actually testing, so the name of the audience. And then over here at the ad level, you're going to title it basically what this ad is, right? So name it something that you'll remember just by taking a visual representation of the actual overview. You'll automatically know this is the audience I'm testing and this is the ad that I'm using. We're going to get to the ad level in a bit, but right here at the ad set level, as you can see, we titled it Muslim plus fitness. Now over here, you choose your convergence objective. For most of you guys, it's going to be website, but let's say you have an app, you would go ahead and choose app. But for the sake of this video, we're doing a website, so we'll go ahead and check website. And then over here, as you can see, it's going to tell you choose your conversion event. So when you click on this, you'll see here the different events that you have. Now, if you have your Facebook pixel set up, you'll be able to choose an event such as add to cart, people that initiated checkout, people that purchased, viewed content, and there's a whole bunch of other things, right? You can do inactive events such as add payment info, complete registration. For most of you guys, you're going to do purchases. For the sake of this video, we're also going to do purchases. So we'll scroll down, and then here we have dynamic creatives. So we're going to keep this off, but I'll briefly explain what dynamic creatives is. Dynamic creatives is essentially an option where you can upload multiple videos, multiple images, multiple headlines, as well as ad copy. And essentially what you're doing is you're telling Facebook, I'm giving you all this information and you go ahead and create a combination of what works best. I recommend you do this, eventually, but you want to keep this turned off. That way you can get more clear data as to which headline, image, or video, as well as ad copy is doing great. So we're going to go ahead and keep this turned off, but I recommend that you test with this as well. Now, if we scroll down here, you can do a control cost. I recommend you keep this optional. What this is basically saying is you could tell Facebook, the maximum that I'm trying to spend is, let's say, $10 per purchase. This is where you would actually go ahead and do that. And again, if you hover over any of these, you'll be able to basically get a thorough, in-depth understanding as to what it is. And if you click on this, it'll be more in-depth, right? So I recommend that if you don't know what anything is, hover over it and it'll tell you some more information. So go ahead and keep scrolling. Let's go ahead and click see more options and see. Now here's where you have your attribution settings. So you'll see right now at the time that we're recording this video, we don't have 28-day attribution like Facebook was, a year ago or even 5 years ago. Right now what we have is 1 day click or 7 day click, and then we have 1 day click or 7 day view, right? We've tested with all of this, and what we've realized is that 7 day click is the best attribute setting. So what this is saying is that we're telling Facebook if someone sees our ad and then purchases up to 7 days later, we want you to still attribute that sale to this ad set or to this campaign. And that's essentially what that is. Now you can imagine if you're doing 1 day and someone purchases 3 days after watching your video or after seeing your ad, they're probably not going to get tracked. So we just go ahead and do 7 day, but again, experiment, test, see what works best for you. So we'll keep scrolling down, and over here we get to the daily budget. Now remember at the campaign level when I said you can turn on campaign budget optimization. If you turn on the campaign budget optimization, you won't have this section right here. So what this is telling us is that this ad set, we're setting the budget for this ad set. So if we go ahead and duplicate another ad set, which we'll show you, you'll realize that each ad set is going to have its own budget. So make sure that whatever your budget is, understand that this is just for this ad set if you don't have the campaign budget optimization turned on. So over here, you can choose by daily or lifetime. We're going to go ahead and keep it by daily, and then we'll go ahead and keep it $20. And then in terms of the start date, you can go ahead and choose when you want your ad to start. Here's one tip that I recommend that you guys take into account. A lot of people miss this and they spend one budget worth of 1 day really quick. So what you want to do is if we're recording this, let's say on the 7th, you want to make sure you have your ad the following day, right? So if you're setting it up right now and you're going to be complete with it, set it for the following day and then make sure that you choose the time 12:01 a.m., meaning that you want your ad to run after midnight. That way you can get a whole 24 cycle. The reason you want to do that is because let's say we have our budget at $20 and this ad starts running right now. Well, guess what? Facebook is going to go ahead and spend this $20 within that 1 day because we're setting a budget at $20 a day. Now, if Facebook spends this ad within 1 day, if you look at the time, it's 10:54. What does that mean? That means that in 1 hour and 6 minutes, it's going to be a new day. So Facebook is going to literally spend this $20 within 1 hour and 6 minutes. The reason you don't want to do that is because you want to distribute your budget evenly. So rather than spending your $20 budget in 1 hour, what you want to do is schedule it for the following day and then make sure that you have the time to 12:01. That way you get a whole 24 hours to actually have Facebook distribute your budget. So again, as you can see here, $20 a day, we scheduled it for the following day and it's 12:01. This will give us like a whole 24 hours to actually have Facebook spend our budget. And after you do that, you have the option of choosing end. If you want your ad to end, you can set this and you can choose a date, but we monitor our ads on a day-to-day basis. So we will go ahead and just keep this unchecked. Now we get to the audience level, and this is essentially where you can go ahead and tell Facebook, this is who I want my ad to show in front of. So as you can see here, we have custom audience. If you have created custom audience in the past, again, if you want to know how to do that, make sure you watch the video in the description. It'll show you in depth of how to create all types of custom audiences as well as lookalike audiences. If you have custom audiences that you've created, you can just come in here and you can type in that audience. Let's go ahead and click on here. You can see these are the different audiences that we went ahead and created. So we can literally just choose one of these and then the audience will populate, right? So if you have any and you want to use custom audience, you can do it that way. If you have audience that's saved, so as you can see here, we're going to go ahead and build out an audience and you can save it. You can go ahead here and hit save audience. If you already have an audience that's saved and you want to use it, you simply just hover over here. And you'll see here, these are the different audiences that we already have. So as you can see here, this is actually an audience that we already went ahead and built out. And instead of having to create this audience all over again, we have it saved so we have easy access to it. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to create it completely new. That way you guys can see a visual representation of how to actually target people based on their interests, demographics, and behaviors. So what we're going to do is come down to locations. And essentially right here, we're telling Facebook, where do we want our ad to show? Now you can go ahead and let's say do United States. You can do Canada. And if you're selling the product for English-speaking countries, the top 5 countries that I recommend is United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, as well as New Zealand. Now, as you can see here, we went ahead and we chose where we want our ad to run. Now, one important thing that a lot of people miss is that over here, we have the option to choose people who are living or recently in this location. We have the option to do people living in this location, people recently in this location, or people traveling to this location. I highly recommend if you're selling, let's say, a product, you don't want to keep it on people living or recently visited. Because what does that mean? That basically means if, let's say, I travel to any of these countries that I went ahead and put, if I recently traveled to Canada, Facebook is going to show me this ad. If I'm just traveling there and I was there like 5 days ago, I'm most likely not going to buy this product. So what you want to do is people living in this location. What this means is that it's only going to show your ad to people that are living in that location rather than people who recently visited that location. So you want to make sure that you always have it on people living in this location. That is something that a lot of people miss. Now we'll go ahead and scroll down once we have our location set, and now we have our age right here. So again, you can run this ad to people between 18 all the way to 65. For this specific client, we're going to go ahead and do people that are 18 to 45. And when you're starting out, I recommend that you don't go ahead and minimize yourself. Keep it 18 to 65. And then once you actually ran the ad and look at the data and realize that majority of people are between the age of 18 and let's say 35, then you can go ahead and adjust it accordingly. But don't assume anything when you're running Facebook ads, because believe it or not, you might think, it's a specific age group, but then people, in an age group that you're not targeting might actually be buying. So before you go ahead and mess with the age, test it. And then after you have some data, go ahead and adjust accordingly. So we'll go ahead and keep this 18 to 45. And then over here, as you can see, we have all genders. Now for this specific client, we are selling a fitness program that's only for men. So what we would be able to do is just target men. If you're selling any product, make sure that you have it on all, unless it's like something that's only for men or only for women. Again, don't assume unless you really know this product is for a specific gender. Keep it on all, and then once you look at the data, go ahead and adjust accordingly. So I'll go ahead and highlight men. So now we get down to detailed targeting. This is by far probably one of the most important parts of running a Facebook ad, as well as the actual creative. But over here, what we're essentially doing is telling Facebook who do we want to show our ad to. So to give you guys an example, for this specific client, we're running an ad. It's a fitness program tailored towards Muslim men. So as you can see here, we can come in here and we can type in certain topics. So we're going to go ahead and type in Muslim, right? And we'll see what comes up. When you type something in, you'll see all these different suggestions. So we have Muslim world, which is actually a really great audience that we go ahead and target, right? We can go ahead and if you click on it, you'll see type in Muslim again, for example, and you'll see a whole bunch of other different interests, right? Now, what's cool is that you can click on suggestions and you'll see stuff that's suggested that's related to a specific interest that you're already targeting. So if we type in Muslim world, as you can see here, these are all topics that we can go ahead and target. These are topics that are very much related. So again, I can go ahead and choose any of these, and they're all related to this topic or this interest, which is Muslim world. Let's say you are in the outdoors hiking. So what you would do, you would type in outdoors and you'll see what comes up. So we have outdoors, right? We have go outdoors, we have muddy outdoors. Let's go ahead and do hiking and see what comes up. So when we go ahead and type in hiking, we have hiking trails, hiking equipment, hiking boot. So imagine if you're some sort of hiking equipment, you can go ahead and highlight hiking equipment and then click suggested, and you'll see we have all these different interests that we can target. So you want to make sure that you're doing this because there's probably interests that you wouldn't have thought of that are inside Facebook and that you wouldn't know unless you actually are choosing the suggested option, which gives you more ideas. So if we have something that we are running an ad for that's hiking, that's going to be related to camping. So we'll go ahead and choose camping, right? We'll probably go ahead and choose hiking boot, right? We can do backpack wilderness. We can do people who are interested in steel toe boots. And I mean, the list goes on and on. So I highly recommend you experiment with this. Now, what we can also do is go over here to the browse section. And as you can see here, we can go ahead and find different stuff that's related to demographics, interests, and behaviors. Let's look at demographics. So when we click on demographics, we see education, financial, life events, parents, relationship. If you go into here, you'll see more interests. So as you can see here, it says education level. You can basically target people who have any of these degrees, right? So as you can see, you can get really granular. Depending on what you're selling, you want to make sure that you're actually spending time inside the detailed targeting to really understand all the different options that you have, right? You don't know something, you don't know what you don't know. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that you're actually going through all of this because as you can see here, let's say we're a job board that we want to hire people that are recent grads. Well, guess what? You can go in here and you can target people who have any of these degrees, right? So it's really powerful. Now, let me go ahead and give you another example. Let's say you're selling a product that's tailored towards people who are newly married. Well, guess what? You can come in here and you can go to relationships and you can see relationship status. And here you have all these different options. People that are in a relationship, people that are engaged, people that are married. So imagine people that are engaged and you have a product that's tailored towards people that are looking to get married. Well, guess what? You can target these people. And look, it says there's 26 million different people that fit this category. So again, I'm really driving the point home to tell you that you should be checking out the different interests that Facebook have, because it's really powerful as to how granular we can get. Now let's go ahead and take a look at interest. When we look at interest, these are different topics that people are interested in. We have business and industry, we have entertainment, family and relationship, we have fitness and wellness. So for example, for this client, if they're doing fitness, we would come in here and we can select all, but we can also see what it has to offer. So maybe this guy's doing bodybuilding, maybe he's doing meditation, right? Physical exercise. So we have all of these different interests at our disposal. And again, if you want to click all of them, you would just go ahead and click select all. And if you go ahead and click this drop down menu, you'll see that it's selected all. If you want to take anything off, you'll simply just click on it just like so. Now that's the interest level. Now let's go ahead and look at the behavior. So behaviors is basically the behavior of the individual whom you're trying to show this ad to. And if we go ahead and click on it, you'll see here, we can target people based on their consumer classifications, based on their, if they're an expat or not, based on their different devices they're using, based on their political views, or even based on their purchase behavior. We're going to go over the purchase behavior. So what's really awesome with Facebook is that we can target people who are engaged shoppers. This actually works really great for us. Why? Because Facebook knows who's actually clicking the shop now button and purchasing. And essentially what this right here has, if you're selling any physical product, I recommend that you do this, that you make sure you're targeting people that are engaged shoppers, because check this out. This is, people, purchase behavior, engaged shoppers. What does this mean? This means people who clicked on the call to action, shop now, in the past week. So what you're literally able to do is not only target people that are interested in any of these different topics, but you can target only the people that literally click the shop now button in the last 7 days. Now, not all of these people might have bought. They might have clicked shop now and, added to cart and not bought. But guess what? Some of these people actually purchased. You actually have to click the shop now button in order to purchase. So being able to target people based on these behaviors is really powerful. And I highly recommend that you test with this, because this is actually what's working really great for us, is that we're targeting people who are engaged shoppers, and most of our purchases come from those individuals, which makes total sense. So as you can see here, you can go ahead and target people by behaviors, interests, demographics. And again, to get this, you just click on the browse now button. Now we're going to go ahead and move on. As you can see here, we can exclude people or we can define further. So this is a perfect example, right? So we actually do this. So let's say right now we're taking a look at this and there's 64 million people, right? 64 million people that are interested in the following topics. Now we want to go ahead and bring this down to maybe half or even lower. Well, guess what? We can go ahead and define further. We can basically tell Facebook, hey, we want you to show our ad to people that are interested in these topics, but they must also be interested in whatever topic you choose here. So this is literally what we do. For engaged shoppers, what we do here is we go to browse and we go to behaviors, and then we go to purchase behavior, and then we go to engaged shoppers. So if you look here, you'll see this is going to go down dramatically. So it went down from 64,000 to 20,000. So what does that mean? We're telling Facebook we want this ad to only show to people who are interested in these topics, but are also engaged shoppers, right? And as you can see here, it brought it down to 20 million people, right? Which actually will get you better results, because now you filtered through 40 million people that are interested in these topics but have not clicked shop now in the last 7 days. Again, I don't recommend you do this for every single ad that you're running. You want to make sure that you test, because maybe someone is interested in buying this product and they haven't clicked the shop now button. This just means the people that clicked the shop now button in the past week. So although this is great, you want to make sure you test without it. But that's basically what define further is. Again, you can go ahead and click it and define even further. You can say, I want to make sure I target people that are interested. Let's do fishing. So as you can see here, we have fishing and we're at 20 million. So when we click that, it's going to drop it down to 12 million. So I hope you guys are understanding this. We can keep defining even further to make sure that our audience is more fine-tuned. And you're going to do this according to the product that you're selling. Now, the option that we have here is exclude. What is this exclude option? Well, essentially you can exclude people. So let's say you already have a bunch of purchases and you don't want this ad to show to people that already purchased. Well, guess what? You can click on exclude, and then you can go ahead and choose people that already purchased. Exclude people that purchased, right? Let's say you're doing drop shipping and you're running an ad and you don't want other dropper shippers to see it. Well, this will be a perfect idea to use. You want to define further and exclude people who match with anything related to drop shipping, because you want to show your ad to people that buy rather than the actual competitors of yours that are doing drop shipping as well. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. So if we type in drop ship, so as you can see here, we have drop shipping as an interest, right? And we want to, if you're doing drop shipping, you want to make sure that you include this, because we want to show our ad to people that are interested in buying, but not the actual drop shippers. And as you can see here, it went down from 20 million to 11 million. Well, guess what? You can go a step further. You can say, let's say if we have Alibaba in here, when we type in Alibaba, perfect, right? Because if someone knows about Alibaba, they probably are not going to buy your product. They probably already know that they can buy this online for cheaper. And as you can see here, we took it down from 11 million now to about 9 million. So again, if you're doing drop shipping, I recommend you use these. You can even go a step further and do e-commerce, because again, if someone is interested in e-commerce, they're probably doing drop shipping as well. And let's see what this brought it down to. So this brought it down to 7.4 million, which is perfect. So you're probably like, okay, now this is great. We don't want to define any further. Now we want to move on. So this is exactly how to do detailed targeting. I recommend you guys spend most of your time in here, because this is literally the make or break as to you having successful ads, is who you want to show your ad to. You want to make sure that you get this right. If you get this right and you get the creative right, then you're going to be successful with Facebook ads. But if you're neglecting this detailed targeting thing that we just went over, then you're literally just going to be wasting your money and you're not going to get no purchases. So let's go ahead and move forward. As you can see here, we can also target people by language. Let's say you want to target people that just speak Arabic. You can go ahead and do that. You can target people that speak, French. You can target people that speak any language, or you can just keep it open and show your ad to anybody regardless of the language they speak. Now, let's say this is a great audience that you've created and you don't want to keep creating this all over again every time you can come into Facebook ads. Well, guess what? You can click on Save Audience. And as you can see here, it'll have all this saved. It'll show us that we're targeting people between the age of 18 and 45 that are excluded. The excluded interest that we have is dropshipping, Alibaba, or e-commerce. Here, it'll tell us people who match with the following interest. And then we say they also must be engaged shoppers and they also must be interested in fishing. So if you don't want to recreate this all over again, you can literally just go ahead and click Save Audience and then name the audience, right? So you would name the audience accordingly. That way you know what the audience is. We're not going to save it for this video, but this is something that you can do, and I recommend you do that so you're not wasting time actually creating this audience all over again. So after saved audience, we come down to placements. Now, this is very important. I know a lot of people are, online are doing manual placements and they're really neglecting the automatic placements. I recommend that you keep it on automatic placements. And the reason that is because a lot of people assume that their audience are only on Instagram and not Facebook, or Facebook and not Instagram. They'll assume that their audience are on Instagram and they just want to run story ads and not actually run feed ads. You want to make sure that you have it on automatic placements, because Facebook is going to spend your budget accordingly. If someone is not on stories and they're on feed, most of your budget is going to go on feed. So don't assume that because you have it on automatic placements, you're going to be wasting money in other placements. Facebook is going to optimize it to where if a lot of people are replying to, let's say, Instagram feed, it's going to spend majority of the budget there. If they're replying to story feed, it's going to spend the most of the budget there, or even the platform. If a lot of people if you're getting a lot of traction on Facebook, it'll spend majority of it there. So make sure you keep it on automatic placements. And after that, you guys, this is the ad set. This is how to set up the ad set. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and click next. And we're going to go ahead and get to the ad level, which is basically the place where we're going to go ahead and actually create the ad copy, create the headline. Now, first thing you want to do is make sure you have your pages selected. So as you can see here, we have the Facebook page and the Instagram page. And then we'll go ahead and scroll down. As you can see here, we can create ad, right? We can also use existing posts. Now, I recorded a video on how to use existing posts to amass a lot of social proof. Recommend you go watch that after this video. I'll leave a link in the description. But essentially with existing posts, so if you click on select post, you can basically go ahead and upload a post that you already have as an ad. What you can also do is enter post ID. Again, I'm not going to go ahead and go over this. I have a video recorded, but just know that you can use an existing post. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to go ahead and create a whole new ad. So as you can see, we have create ad. Now you have the options of doing single image or video. You have the options of doing carousel, which is multiple images. And then you have the option of doing collection, right? I recommend you test all, but for the purpose of this video, we're just going to go ahead and do single image or video. And now we get down to the ad creative. So over here is where we have the headline, the primary text, as well as the description, and then the actual image or video. So let's go ahead and choose an image. Actually, we're going to go ahead and choose a video. So we'll go ahead and choose video. And if you already uploaded a video to your ad account, you're going to see it here. If you have not, just basically click upload, and then it'll open up your computer where you can actually go ahead and upload the video you want to use. For the purpose of this video, we're going to go ahead and choose this ad right here, and we'll go ahead and click next. And as you can see here, you can go ahead and crop it. You can keep it original, or you can go ahead and do what they recommend. The recommendations basically crop it, better to where it actually fits the screen. But sometimes that might not be good, right? Because as you can see, the way this video is recorded, you want to keep it original, just because if we make it the recommended, it's going to be cropped out. So we'll go ahead and keep it original. For stories, same thing. Go ahead and click done. And now, as you can see, we can start seeing the ad right here. But before we do that, let's go ahead and put some primary text. So for the primary text, this is essentially the text that is going to show up right over here. Let's actually go ahead and fill it out first. This is the ad copy. Primary text is ad copy. So you want to go ahead and grab your ad copy. And once you have your ad copy, you're just going to go ahead and copy it. And then you'll come back to your ad and then paste it in here. All right. And now we have the ad copy. So next thing you want is your headline. And essentially the headline is going to be right above the Shop Now button. So we'll go ahead and choose the headline. The headline is usually pretty short, so you want to make sure you keep it as short as possible. Add an emoji if you want, so we realize the emojis do great. And then the description. The description is optional, but I don't recommend you neglect it. Why not? You have some space where you can actually put a description. Why not go ahead and put it? Just keep in mind the description only shows on Facebook, not on Instagram. Great. Now we have that. Now let's go ahead and choose the call to action button, right? So as you can see here, call to action. If you are selling a physical product, you're obviously going to want to choose shop now. If you're doing, let's say, lead gen, you can do learn more. So we're going to go ahead and do shop now. And then after that, we have the website. So this is basically what is the website that you want to send people to when they see this ad. So we're going to go ahead and pull up the website. And one thing that's important here, you guys, is once you have your website, there's two things you need to know. There's the website URL, which basically means where do you want to send someone to when they when they see this ad. And then there's display URL, right? Display URL essentially is what is going to show over here, right? See how it says championmethod.com? This is what it's going to show over here. Let's say you have a website that's championmethod.com/opt-in dash homepage number 2 dash blah, 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 right? That's not going to look really great, and it's actually going to be cut off. So the way you can make it shorter is basically have a shorter display URL, right? So the display URL, if it's super short, don't worry about it. This is just going to show here on the ad, right? But when someone clicks on the ad, they're going to go ahead and go to this link right here, right? So make sure that you're setting your display URL, just the URL of the website, and then the website URL is actually where do you want to send someone to. So after we do that, we're going to go ahead and scroll further. And here we have languages, and then here we have tracking. You want to make sure that you have your domain selected. And then if you're using UTM parameters, I recommend that you go ahead and put that in here. I recommend that you actually do use UTM parameters because Facebook is not tracking as great right now, and you want to be using third-party resources. So you want to be using like Google Analytics. So we actually use Google Analytics to track purchases. And what we do is we go ahead and just type in the URL parameter. I'm not going to explain it in this video. We'll have another video on the exact URL parameter that you can build. But if you do have it, you're going to go ahead and put it in here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the ad and see what we got. So as you can see here, we have the headline right here. And for the headline on Facebook, it's going to show the first 3 lines, and then it's going to show see more. So the first 3 lines, you want to make sure that whatever your message is, try to compress it in the first 3 lines, because that's what people are basically going to be able to see. Followed by the headline. As you can see here, we have the headline. It's not cut off. So we have the headline, $5, no excuses. And then here we have the description. Find out why thousands are giving us $5. Here we have the website, and here we have the call to action. So this is our ad. And what's unique is that you can see what it looks like on different placements. So this is what it looks like on Facebook newsfeed. Here's what it looks like on Instagram. As you can see here, we have no headline. All we have is the ad copy. We don't have no description as well. You can see what it looks like in the Facebook marketplace. You can see what it looks like in Facebook video feed. And then you can also see what it looks like on stories. So here's what it would look like on stories. This looks like it's Instagram stories. Here we have Facebook stories, and then here we have Messenger stories, and then Reel would show up. But the reason it's not showing up right now is because the video has to be under 60 seconds, and I believe this video is actually a little bit longer. If we take a look at Instagram Shop, it's not going to be on here again because this creative is not compatible with it. And then same thing with Facebook group. The media, I think it's either too long, right? So that's probably why it's not showing up. But if you're using an image, it's going to show up in a lot of these places, right? So this is essentially how to actually create the creative. And once you're done with that, you're basically just going to go ahead and click publish, and your ad is going to go live. Now, it's going to take anywhere between 2 hours to 24 hours for your ad to get approved. But once it gets approved, it's going to go ahead and go live according to the time that you set over here, right? So remember, we went over here. This is why I said I recommend you keep it for 12:01 the next day, because once it goes live, it's going to start running, right? And if you have it at 12:01, it's going to give you a whole 24 hours to actually have the ad run. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. This is how to create a Facebook ad from A to Z. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.